When I walked back into that penthouse for the first time in years, I saw my cousin's jaw drop so hard it almost hit the marble floor. The same cousin who had laughed at me, mocked me for being a nobody, and told everyone I'd never amount to anything. Her fake smile froze when she realized the place she had been bragging about for months, the one she thought belonged to her new rich fiancé, it was actually mine. Yeah, the penthouse was mine, and the look on her face when she found out. Priceless. But before I tell you how I went from being the poor relative to owning the most expensive property in the city, I need to take you back to where it all started. Tell me this: if someone humiliated you in front of your entire family, would you take revenge quietly, or would you make sure they never forgot what they did? I grew up as the less fortunate one in my family. My mom was a single parent who worked 2 jobs to keep food on the table. My cousins, especially one named Serena, never let me forget where I came from. Serena was the golden child, tall, gorgeous, with rich parents who spoiled her rotten. She had everything handed to her on a silver platter, and she made sure everyone knew it. Every family gathering turned into a performance, with her flaunting her new designer bag or her fancy vacations, while I stood in the corner wearing the same dress I'd worn last year. She'd smile sweetly and say, "Oh, you look so cute. You thrift that dress." And everyone would laugh like it was some kind of comedy show. I used to laugh it off, but deep down it burned. After high school, Serena went off to a private university in Europe while I stayed behind, working at a coffee shop to pay for community college. I didn't resent her for having more, at least not at first. What hurt was how she went out of her way to make me feel small. Every time she visited, she'd make sure to accidentally mention how successful everyone else was. Her new boyfriend with the sports car, her parents' new villa, her internship abroad. She'd pat my arm and say things like, "Don't worry, cuz, you're doing great for your level." I told myself to stay calm. I had bigger dreams than she could ever imagine. While she was posting pictures in Italy, I was working double shifts, studying business, and trying to launch something real. I didn't have money, but I had grit. I started a small online resale business from my bedroom. At first, it was just me flipping thrifted clothes. But I saw potential. People wanted unique, sustainable fashion, and I knew how to find it. So I reinvested every dollar I made. Slowly, I learned marketing, branding, customer engagement. I barely slept, sometimes going 2 days straight without proper rest. My mom used to worry I was burning out, but I just told her, "Give me a few years, Mom. Just a few years and everything will change." And it did. My little business blew up. Within 5 years, I had a full team, a warehouse, and partnerships with major influencers. We weren't just selling clothes anymore, we were running a brand. By year 7, investors came knocking. I signed a deal that took my net worth from nothing to several million overnight. I could finally breathe. I bought my mom a house, paid off every debt, and for the first time in my life, I didn't have to worry about money. But here's the thing: I didn't flaunt it. I didn't tell anyone, especially not my family. I wanted to see how they'd treat me without knowing what I had become. Years passed, then out of the blue, I got an invite to Serena's engagement party. The location: a luxury penthouse in the heart of the city. The same building where I'd recently bought a unit under my company's name. I had just purchased it a few months prior as an investment property. I hadn't even moved in yet. When I saw the address on the invitation, I laughed. What were the odds? I decided to go. Not because I wanted to show off, but because I wanted closure. I wanted to look her in the eye and see if anything about her had changed. When I walked into that party, it felt like stepping into a movie. Chandeliers, champagne towers, a live band, everything screamed money. And there she was, standing in the center like a queen. Serena, she looked me up and down, her perfectly painted lips curling into that familiar smirk. "Oh my God, you came," she said, giving me an air kiss. "I wasn't sure you'd show up, I mean. This place is a little out of your budget." People around her chuckled. My hands clenched, but I smiled. "It's beautiful," I said calmly, looking around. "Very familiar." She started parading me around, introducing me as her sweet cousin, who still runs that little online thing. I just nodded, pretending not to care. Then her fiancé, Eric, walked over. He was tall, charming, and dressed in a suit that probably cost more than my first car. Serena clung to him like a trophy. "This is my man," she said proudly. "He's been doing so well. He just rented this penthouse for us." I blinked. Rented? I knew the property wasn't for rent. My company had purchased the entire floor outright, but I didn't say a word. I just smiled and congratulated them. Later that night, when most guests were busy dancing, I excused myself and wandered toward the balcony. That's when I saw the building manager talking to the caterers, mentioning MS. Alvarez, the owner, approved the late hour service. Alvarez, my mother's maiden name, the name I used for my company. I caught Serena's eyes following me, curiosity burning behind her fake smile. "Everything okay, cuz?" she asked sweetly. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I turned to her and said, just taking it all in, "This place, it's special." She laughed. "Well, don't get used to it. People like us don't usually end up in places like this." That was it. That sentence, "people like us," broke whatever restraint I had left, but I didn't explode, no. I wanted her to dig her own grave. So I played along. "So how did you and Eric find this place?" I asked innocently. She rolled her eyes, sipping her champagne. "Oh, he has connections. The owner apparently travels a lot and doesn't even live here full-time, so they're letting us stay here until we find our own penthouse." I tilted my head. "That's generous of the owner." She grinned, unaware of the storm brewing behind my calm expression. "Yeah, but not everyone gets that kind of privilege, right? You have to know the right people." I chuckled softly. "Oh, I know a few people too." The night went on, and when it was time for speeches, Serena took the microphone. She thanked everyone for coming, and of course, she couldn't resist slipping in another dig. "It's crazy how life works," she said, her eyes glinting as they met mine. "Some people chase success their whole lives, and others are just lucky enough to find it, like me." The crowd laughed, and she basked in the attention. That was when I decided it was time. I raised my hand and said, "Excuse me, Serena. I actually have a quick announcement too, if that's okay." The room quieted. She looked confused but nodded, still smiling. "Sure, cuz, what's up?" I stepped forward, heart pounding but voice steady. "I just wanted to say thank you for hosting this event in such a lovely place. I'm honored to see my property being used for something so special." Her smile faltered. "Your property, yes," I said, pulling my phone from my purse and opening the property app that clearly listed my company's name as the owner. "This penthouse and the 2 units below it belong to my company. I just hadn't moved in yet." The silence that followed could have frozen time. Guests looked between us, whispering. Eric's face went pale. Serena stammered, "That can't be right," Eric said. Eric jumped in, his voice shaky. I thought the lease was through a broker." I looked directly at him. "There's no lease, no broker, just ownership, but don't worry, I won't kick you out tonight. You can finish your little party." Serena's face turned crimson. She tried to laugh it off, saying, "Oh, that's hilarious, you're joking, right?" I smiled. Do I look like I'm joking? The tension in the room was suffocating. People started murmuring, some trying not to laugh. I could practically feel years of humiliation melting away in that moment. She had built her image on fake wealth and lies, and now, in front of everyone she tried to impress, her mask shattered. I turned to leave, but not before adding one last line. "It's funny, Serena, you were right. People like us don't usually end up in places like this, but some of us work for it." I walked out as the whispers turned into full-blown gossip. I didn't need to look back to know what was happening. Her social world was collapsing in real time. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause for a second. What would you have done if you were me? Would you have exposed her in public or kept it private? Be honest, because at that moment, I wasn't sure if I'd gone too far or finally done what needed to be done. Comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Anyway, here's how it all unfolded after that night. The next morning, my phone blew up with messages, some from relatives I hadn't heard from in years, suddenly so proud of me. Others from Serena's friends, apologizing for how they treated me before. Apparently, after I left, Eric confronted Serena about all the lies she'd told about her family's wealth, about the lease, even about her background. Turns out, she'd exaggerated everything to fit into his rich circle. When the truth came out, he dumped her on the spot. A few weeks later, I got a call from Serena herself. She was crying, saying she didn't mean to hurt me, that she was just insecure, that I'd embarrassed her for life. I listened quietly and then said, "Serena, I didn't embarrass you. You did that all on your own." And then I hung up. It wasn't about revenge anymore, it was about closure. For years, I let her words make me feel small. Now I finally realized that her mockery said more about her than it ever did about me. In the months that followed, I moved into the penthouse, my penthouse. My mom came to live with me for a while, and I remember the first time she looked out at the skyline and said, "You did it, honey. You really did it." That moment meant more than any victory over Serena ever could. I still get invited to family events sometimes. Serena doesn't show up much anymore, but when she does, she's quiet, polite. Maybe she's learned her lesson. Maybe not. I don't care. Because I'm no longer the poor cousin standing in the corner. I'm the woman who built everything from scratch. And I did it without needing to step on anyone to get there. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that silence is power. You don't always have to clap back right away. Sometimes, the best revenge is letting success do the talking. And when karma finally catches up to those who mock you, it's not about gloating, it's about peace. So, what do you think? Was I wrong for calling her out like that? Or did she have it coming? Like this video if you think she got exactly what she deserved. Subscribe for more stories like this, and tell me in the comments what you would have done differently. Thanks for listening to my story. I'll see you all in the next one.